Okay, here for sideboarding, and not a lot going on either side. From the Eldrazi side, really my game plan is going to be to try to get underneath Michael and be able to keep applying enough pressure and not let him get a lot of traction in the games. Didn't go very well in the pre-board games, but uh, in order to help him post-board, I'm bringing in a couple Stubborn Isles so I can hopefully play a creature, hold up a mana, either just nab a removal spell in the early game, or once the game goes longer, then we have Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher, and Drowner of Hope. And now the World Breaker to turn on Ferocious for Stubborn Isle and just make it a counter spell for any of Michael's removal. And being 1 mana, it'll help us just sort of gain a bit of tempo, counter a 2 or 3 mana removal spell with a 1 mana spell, and buy us hopefully enough time to close out the game. I'm swapping one of the Path Exiles for a Dismember. My life total really isn't too relevant in these games. If Michael's going to win, it's usually just going to be by him killing all my stuff and drawing a bunch of cards with Ancestral Vision. And so Dismember is more efficient, a more efficient removal spell at that point. And then one World Breaker to help in longer games, so recursive threat. Really, he needs to kill it with a Kalitas on the battlefield in order to really deal with it, but keep coming back. Maybe exile a Tar Pit or two. And then we're cutting a Birds of Paradise, which just gets swept up in Anger of the Gods, or just gets bolted or something, and it is a weak draw later on. And then have a couple of Eldrazi Displacers coming out because they don't do a ton in this matchup. There's not a lot of interaction on the battlefield. It's more just him killing my stuff and me trying to lay threats. So Displacer gets a lot weaker in those types of games, and that's about it.
Over on my side, mostly just incorporating some cheaper interaction, cutting mana leak because between 4 Cavernous Souls and 4 Ancient Stirring, it's pretty likely that those can get turned off, and they're also weaker on the draw in general. Shaving Inquisition because we're bringing in 2 Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is more effective against the bigger threats like Thought-Knot Seer and Reality Smasher. Anger of the Gods kind of handles the low end of Ross's curve, the Mana Accelerants, Eldrazi Displacer, Sky Spawner, Matter Reshaper. It's a clean answer to that as well.
Yeah, the rest of your deck is pretty good at dealing with those threats as well. You have Bolts and,
right.
and Kalitas can hold the ground against them.
Notably not bringing in my 3rd copy of Kalitas since it doesn't actually match up well against Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher. It is powerful in conjunction with like a Terminator or Dreadbore to handle that and start to snowball the game, but I think on the draw the 3rd copy is a little shaky. And then also not bringing in Boom Bust, even though Eldrazi is kind of this big mana deck. Ross has Mana Accelerants, and like he alluded to, he just wants to like kind of get under me, so I don't really think that's my plan in this matchup.
Yes, Stone Raining the Noble Hierarch deck is not a good plan.
Yeah, so join us at the moment for the games.
Okay, here for game 3, and this hand hopefully will demonstrate the power of this deck because this is very good, very strong opening curve with some acceleration, so I'm going to keep.
It looks like we might give Ross one. My hand is, I'm mulligan to 6, and it's a little shaky. We're going to need some help, but I think it's a fine keep on the draw.
Okay.
I'll scream.
Yep.
Bottom that.
I'll play Winds of Teeth and pass.
All right. I don't actually think I want to lead out on this because I might need to cast this.
Have a bunch of green mana there.
So I'm going to get a Watery Grave, I suppose, and cast Serum Visions.
Where are you?
I guess maybe there's an argument actually for getting Steam Vents because I have both Darkslick Shores and Blackcleave Cliffs in my deck, so I think that actually is just better. Even though we could like hit a discard spell off this.
Oh, this should just be a Hallowed Fountain. If I draw a Noble Hierarch, there's no way I'm casting it for a while.
Alright, I'm at 17.
Already at 17.
And I don't want either of these cards. Your turn.
Perfect. Scry's both at the bottom. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Temple Reshaper.
Sure.
You can go.
All right. So now the question is whether we want to play this into our cantrip. So we have this as an option. Don't think I necessarily want to actually cast it this turn if I don't have to. And if we like hit something like a Creeping Tar Pit, that would be really bad if we were to play our island first. So I'm going to cast Serum Visions.
Did you draw Creeping Carpet?
I didn't.
Lucky.
I don't look super smart.
Lucky.
All right, bottom both of those.
Unless you needed land, then unlucky. Which, after
And
2 double bottoms.
Your turn.
And a basic island, I can't imagine Michael has a lot of lands left in his deck.
Yeah.
Or left in his hand. Just... I guess we'll find out. Attack for 3.
14.
Thought not.
Thought Scour myself.
Sure. Yeah, 2 lands. Okay, so still no black source. And obviously very far away from Dark Dwellers, so I kind of want to take Bolt.
You're so greedy.
That's greedy. I'll just take the Terminate, especially because you have the Thought Scour. Yeah, I was getting there.
Okay.
I
thought you were gonna take the Thought Scour.
No, I was explaining my way there.
Okay, gotcha.
That the threat of Terminate is so great that even though you can't cast it, it is what I will take. Yeah.
I don't want to take 1,000,000 damage, so I'm gonna fetch Swamp first.
No, you're gonna take 1,000,000 damage.
Well,
don't worry.
I understand that. I have to alleviate the millions of damage that I'm going to take.
You're at 13.
I had the moment of panic where I thought I'd milled my Swamp for a second there.
Okay.
All right, 13. I'm going to Thought Scour myself. Try to hit a hard removal spell for the Thought Knot. Oh, there it was. Okay, and I will, even though taking damage stinks, if we hit something like another Thought Knot or Reality Smasher, that's much better.
Tilt.
Okay.
You're at 11.
So maybe we have a chance. Did I just not take that fetch? I sure didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, 11. Go ahead.
So, Matter Reshaper is presumably getting lightning bolted if it tries to attack. So, Noble?
Sure.
Declare tax?
Okay. Are you just sending Thought Knot?
Yep.
Interesting. I think this is worse if I just draw a land and I can kill both of these next turn, but I don't know. I mean, I see the logic. I'll go to 6.
You can go.
Okay. Well, the presence of Path to Exile means I can't really just cast this. So it looks like I should go ahead and get that path out of your hand and pass the turn.
So once again, I will just attack for 5.
And here, I think the biggest issue is, so I couldn't just like bolt Noble Hierarch pre-combat, and bolting Matter Reshaper did nothing. So, and if I just take this and go to 1, there's basically no scenario where, because I've milled Island and Mountain, so I have no basics left in my deck. There's no scenario where I actually draw an untapped land that doesn't deal me damage, so I can Snapcaster and kill this. So I'm just gonna play this and block.
Okay. Now that you've pointed out that you've built your mountain,
I see. Okay, well, I'm dead.
Yes, I'll strip mine you. Probably should have checked for that first.
Yeah,
Didn't really assume I could be that lucky.